What do Thai people really think of Farang? I think the true answer is a mixed bag of things, ranging from being fearful, intimidated, and there's also the sense of admiration, curiosity, contempt, and even resentment. In this episode, we're gonna go through all of this in the most candid way possible. From me, James, the real Thailander. So 15 years ago, my friend Muriel, who's a Dutch woman, came to tell me that she felt like her presence intimidated her Thai colleagues. And it got me thinking for the longest time, and I think she had a point. But to set the scene, I think we have to agree on what I mean by the word farang. I think most Thai people use the word farang to call the Western foreigners. So people who are white or white passing can be called farang. Even Latinos or Latinas, if they are white passing, they will be called farang. When it comes to black people, I would also include in the word farang as well, because based on my 40 years experience of living in Thailand, 20 to 30% of people in Thailand also call black people farang here. So yeah, just keep in mind that these are the definition of farang that I will use in this episode. So the first feeling that people feel about farang is this intimidation that I mentioned earlier. There's this expression that a lot of Thai people seem to live by. Glua farang. Very scared of foreigner, very scared of farang. And I've seen this in with my own eye a couple of times when I walked in with a foreign friend to a shop or something. And sometimes the shop assistants would be like this, thinking that I'm also not a Thai person. Sometimes I was mistaken for being from Korea or China or Japan or whatever. I think this intimidation comes from the reasons. And the first reason is the language barrier for sure, because a lot of Thai people, well, there is this myth, which is also a reality, that the English proficiency in Thailand is pretty low. Looking at the trajectory of the English proficiency in the country right now, it doesn't look really good. I think in a touristic place, yeah, people can speak a little bit of English, but when it comes to Thailand as a whole, the English level is pretty low. So that's the number one reason why people are scared of dealing with people who look different from them. But there are also some other reasons as well. And I think it is because there's this behavior clash when it comes to interactions between Thai and foreigners. My friend who works in an international school has told me this, that at lunchtime, the foreign staff would sit together and the Thai staff would sit together. And when the foreign staff asked the Thai staff to join them, often the Thai staff would smile. Well, they don't say anything, but they would still insist in sitting together anyway. When I look into this, it reminds me of a story in which I was in a van. I was traveling in the south of Thailand. I was the only Thai person in that van, along with the driver. The atmosphere of the van was really happening. So everyone just met in that van for the first time. Most of the people in that van were from an Anglo-Saxon country, so like the UK, the US, so on and so forth. So we're happening, people would say things like, oh, I've done Cambodia, I did Siem Reap, I did this, I did that. It was so vibrant. At one point, the driver decided to take a break at a gas station. And when he parked the car, he got off and then he walked towards me. And then he started saying this. He was like, why do these people feel the need to talk all the time? And it struck me very much that this kind of scene wouldn't happen at all if everyone on that van is Thai. I realized that there is this ideal in the Western world and in the Eastern world that it's quite different. I think in the West, there is this concept of taking up space, speaking up for yourself. Whereas in the East, you have the concept of knowing your place and reading the room. So these two concepts clash with one another a little bit. When you want to take up space, then you would go around introducing yourself, telling people your stories. But when you know your place, you won't actually do that. You will go into the room and read the room and see when it's safe for you to say things. So if the Western world values someone that is extroverted and speaking up, and the Eastern world, in this case Thailand, values someone who is more quiet and chill, the situation calls for them to speak. Then when these two people interact, then I think you would have this gap where this Western people would just like blah, 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 blah. And then the Eastern person who's not westernized will be like, smile, And I could see that for a Thai person who lives in the spectrum of being very Asian, very Thai, this could get very tiring because the conversation in the Western style is a high octave sort of conversation. You have to be speaking up. If you stop, then the other person would start a conversation. There isn't that much comfort for silence. Whereas in the Thai style of conversation, there's a bit more of this acceptance to comfort for silence. I hope you are enjoying this episode so far. If you want to support this channel, please click like to this video, make some comments, and subscribe to this channel. And if you feel like, you can also donate on buymeacoffee.com/realthailander to keep this channel afloat. Thank you. I think sometimes intimidation can also work the other way as well. I was once in a cafe, and this cafe was run by a European guy. At one point, this manager, which is this European guy, came from, behind his bar to tell every table that they're gonna close early for today because they have this special event. So he was going from table 1 to 3. I am table 4, and he just skipped my table and he went to table 5, 6, and 7. And I was like, I knew what he was going for. He was gonna tell us that they're gonna close early, and I was trying to, giving him this eye so he could come over and speak to me, but he just skipped me. A few minutes after, the Thai staff came to my table and then told me in Thai that they were gonna close early. I found that behavior quite funny because in some ways it doesn't feel nice at all that someone just didn't look at you, especially in your own country. But at the same time, I also understand that I probably intimidate him in some ways. It sounds funny, right? But I think this is how it works. I think there are two factors why he didn't come and speak to me directly. The first reason is because he thought I was Thai, which in this case is correct. In some case, it's not, because you can be Asian looking and not Thai, and we just happen to not talk before that as well. So how could he have known? Anyway, so there's this concept that Thai people have low English proficiency. So in his head, it may be like, okay, this would be awkward if I talk to this person and they're like, huh, just don't get it. But at the same time, I also realized that for some foreigners who live here for a long time who doesn't speak the Thai language, sometimes there is this sense of shame that they have. So I think they try to avoid it by just not talking to you in the first place. Another restaurant which I visit quite often is this one restaurant. It's a Western food, and there's a chef that is there, and the food is amazing. But I would notice that the chef would from time to time come out from the kitchen and start talking to the guests that are not Thai looking. So he seems to deliberately just skip the tables where people look Thai, which is not an excellent look, because I think that it's a bit of a prejudice, when it comes to not speaking to someone that looks Thai. But at the same time, I think this goes back to the fact that maybe there's this fear of being awkward in using English with someone who doesn't speak English well, and also the shame of him not being able to speak the language in which he lives in. So I think intimidation works both ways. I also think that Thai people have some admiration towards Farangs. When I say Farang, in this specific instance, it's mostly towards the white people. The reason why it is like that, because first of all, Thailand has never been colonized by the Western world on paper anyway. So there seems to be not so much hang up when it comes to that. Probably there's a little bit of hang up, but not as much as countries that were colonized by the Western world. But I think the history as we know it in the last 100, 200 years have been written in a way that the Western history is known by the whole world, whereas the Eastern history is not. And then you also have this media, like movies and films. Well, movies and films are the same thing. Okay, like movies and stuff, which come from Hollywood, which penetrated into the whole world first. So my parents would know Jack Palance, Jack Nicholson, Harrison Ford as the protagonists of films. These are heroes. And I would know Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt as Hollywood heartthrobs, for example. And a lot of Thai people would also know the same things. So every time when they came across a white looking person, they could relate, they could find those people familiar because they have seen these movies where white people are protagonists. Well, sometimes villains too, but also a lot of protagonists. So in saying that, I'm also implying that when it comes to beauty standard, Thai people also find, let's say, a white guy more handsome than they usually are, in my opinion. So for example, what I've noticed is that, when it comes to a white guy or a white girl traveling in Thailand or just being in Thailand, the Thai people would become quite lenient with their beauty. Great. What I'm trying to say is that an average looking white guys and white girls are usually perceived as more beautiful or like more good looking in Thailand. So it's very easy for a white person to be perceived as beautiful in this country. But when it comes to an Asian person or a black person, it seems to me that another standard is applied. It's very hard for a Thai person to say that this Asian person or this black person is beautiful. So I think there's double standard here. And I think it's because the beauty standard in Thailand is in favor of the white features. For example, when it comes to plastic surgery, Thai people, not Thai people, but like some Thai people want to have like this deep double eyelids. They also want to have this kind of nose with smaller nostrils and also like a nose with higher bridge right here. Some women would openly claim that they want to have a white husband because they want to have good looking kids, which is probably not the best thing to say. A lot of people would just go and buy this skin whitening products so they could have lighter skin. So you can see that what a lot of Thai people perceive as beautiful is already in the white features, including, lighter eye colors. You will see that a lot of Thai people also use the contact lenses that make their eyes go a little bit lighter. So yeah, I think when it comes to the fact that this beauty standard is in favor of the white beauty, it means that when you are a Caucasian person living and traveling in Thailand, sometimes you would get certain privileges in finding jobs as models, as actors for TV commercials, or sometimes even jobs that don't require looks like teaching, for example. I think right now things get a bit better, but 10 years ago, I heard so many stories that people would get hired out of their skin color and not because of their qualification. I think now things have gotten so much better. One of the things that's really funny about the Thai beauty standard is that when you have someone who's half Thai, half, let's say, Swedish, then this type of beauty would be sometimes called commercial beauty. Whereas when you have someone that look like they are very Thai, they might even have like high cheekbones, strong jawbone structure, who's from Isan, this kind of looks would be called exotic. And it's a little bit funny because the looks that's supposed to be predominant in the country turns out to be the exotic look in the Thai beauty standard, in the fashion industry and in the TV series and movies. I think sometimes Thai people can also be grateful towards foreigners in the way that you haven't thought of. And it's because, in Thailand, there is this rule where you have to give a lot of respect to people. And a lot of respect makes total sense. But some of them, I think sometimes people feel a little bit uptight and have hang-ups about it. When you go to the uni, for example, you're supposed to be bowing to a person who goes to uni 1 year above you. Like, you are literally the same age, but you have to show the respect to that person already. When it comes to having foreign friends or Farang friends, there's no such thing. So having foreign friends becomes some sort of a social escape for a lot of Thai people. They can make friends with someone who's 20 years older than them. They can make friends with someone who's much younger than them. Now I'm going to talk about the resentment issue. I think that Thai people do sometimes feel resentment towards foreigners in some instances. I think this comes from the fact that, when you are Thai, I think you are taught to be catering to the world as someone or some country that is very hospitable. So you were told that when you have guests from abroad and you treat them really well, you warmly welcome them. Yeah, we are taught that way, and then we get disappointed when we go abroad and realizing that just because we are good hosts to some people doesn't mean that we will be warmly welcomed in their countries. So a lot of my friends or a lot of people that I read about on the internet could sometimes complain about their disappointment when it comes to their treatment, the treatment that they receive when they travel abroad. Some of the complaints are about this subtle discrimination treatment that they receive. Some of the comments would talk about the open racism that they receive. I, for one, faced with a few racism and discrimination, which shocked me, but it doesn't actually stop me from traveling or anything. But I remember the one time that I went to the US for the first time, it was for a law school students competition. So I was there with my friends, and when the competition was over, we were just walking around in Washington, D.C. And being Thai as we are, I think we're actually very harmless looking. And I don't think the Thai people are that loud in general. So we don't know why we would upset this one woman. But this one homeless woman seeing us, and then she started shouting, "Move your yellow back to your country." And you're like, no way. I mean, I saw this in movie, but I never really imagined that this would happen in my life. And after that, I would get a few other calls from people when I travel from time to time. But yeah, I don't think that when you are, let's say, a white foreigner in Thailand, this thing would happen to you so much. So I could see that this is where resentment could come from. Sometimes you get treated worse as a citizen of Thailand. For instance, I was living on an island during COVID, and at that time, most people really wanted to be vaccinated. And I remember that finally one day they organized this vaccination for everyone, and they grouped us into three groups. Group one is the people from Myanmar who works on the island. Group two is Thai people, and group three is foreigners. So the Myanmar people would get this vaccine that wasn't desirable at that time. So yeah, you got that. And then the Thai and the foreigners were lined up into two queues. What happened after this was very interesting. So in the foreigner queue, you get the number. And let's say if now they're calling for queue number 1 and you have queue number 400, then you know that you could actually go have lunch and take a nap somewhere and then come back and it would still be fine. Whereas the Thai queue is not run by number. The Thai queue is actually run by them making you sit in like specific seatings. So every time someone got vaccinated, then you move seat like one by one. And I was very puzzled by this because I thought like, why couldn't they just arrange the queue the same way for Thai as for foreigners? Until I realized that this may be a bit telling that when it comes to dealing with these foreigners on the island, the organizers must have thought, okay, we view foreigners as someone who's argumentative, someone who's pro individual rights. So if we do something that don't make sense, they won't shut up. But when it comes to Thai people, I think we are dealt with complacency. Like the way that it's organized for Thai people to sit on the seats seems like this is military style of dealing with someone. The worst thing is that when you want to go to the bathroom, you have to trust your neighbor the person next to you tell them, okay, can you look after my seat for me? I'll be back in a moment. You can't never go and have lunch or just take a nap at home. And at the end, it took me 5 hours moving from seat to seat before I get the vaccination. I was pretty pissed by that. In some ways, I feel like, wow, like we got treated worse as a Thai person. But then again, I don't know if that is intentional. When it comes to contempt, I think this is a very interesting topic because I think most people in Thailand actually don't feel any contempt towards foreigners, and not anymore. I think most people that would still hold some sort of contempt towards foreigners are the older generation who still have this lingering sense of the colonialism period. And I think sometimes this contempt would come in judging foreigners to be not civilized in some of the ways that these people think Thai culture is. So, for example, Thai people would shower quite a lot, and there is this discourse about foreigners being not very hygienic when it comes to personal hygiene. And I think in the past, less so now, I think Thai people that are in the middle income families wouldn't like their offspring, so their kids, to marry into a foreigner. Some people, usually girls, would call the white guys who move to Thailand LBH, which is loser back home. I don't think I like this term very much because it seems very restrictive and discriminatory, but I did come across some of my Thai female friends who would complain about the fact that they somehow wanted to date guys, and some of the guys they wanted to date were foreigners, but then they would also say things like, well, these foreigners came here because they couldn't get girls back home, and when they came to Thailand, they become popular, then they became players. So I could see this is another form of contempt that girls sometimes have towards certain white guys who live in Thailand. I think the last feeling that Thai people have when it comes to foreigners is this sense of curiosity. I think this shows way more when it comes to kids or people that live in a village when they see someone that looks a bit different. The other day, I was on a hike with a friend of mine, and there were these two little girls, and they kept saying hello to my friend who is a white foreigner. And I've seen this incident happen quite a few times in Southeast Asia. And I quite like this curiosity. But sometimes I also wonder what would happen with the Asian tourists. Like, would they receive any sort of attention at all? I think I couldn't help but feel a bit bad for them, perhaps, for being a foreigner, but without any visibility. All right, so that's it when it comes to the feelings that the Thai have towards foreigners. It's a mixture of admiration, resentment, intimidation, and curiosity. If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. And if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to this channel so I can give you more information about Thailand in the most candid way possible, like I'm doing right now. And if you want to support this channel for it to stay afloat, then I would say go to buymeacoffee.com/real Thailander, or as it's linked below. Thank you so much. See you in next episode.